You know what?
Gentlemen, please make welcome Mr. Courtney Campbell.
I want to congratulate you for that vision, Bishop, and of starting the first men's ministry, but also those who have conceptualized and planned this. Well done. Congrats. The second thing I want to say is on a sadder note that we, I'm from Webster Memorial, part of the United Church, each year at Ash Wednesday, along with the other churches from this region, the other United congregations from this region, we come here for a day of fellowship. So when we heard the news of the young minister of this church who was brutally murdered right here, it's like it's one of us. Frankly, it's one of us because we are all connected through Christ. So we're mourning with you, and on behalf of my brothers and sisters at Webster Memorial and all the United Churches, we want to say we are with you in this time. And then the third thing I want to say is thank you very much for the invitation. Chris, I think Sam Cooper had something to do with it, but thank you very much for the invitation. I want to thank God for having brought me here to serve with you. I'm coming from far, right? I was born in Chapelton. Anybody from Clarendon? Right? Chapelton Public Hospital on Mother's Day. My father is from Rock River. Yeah? Anybody from know Rock River? And my mother is from Colonel's Ridge. Right? And I grew up in Kellitz. You have Church of God of Prophecy congregation in Kellitz? Yeah? Anybody from Kellitz? Good. Grew up in Kellitz. I did first form at Clarendon College. But then afterward, I went to Knox College. Knox College in Spalding. And then you heard the rest of it in the introduction. So I want to say that especially the brothers who may be from Clarendon, right? We are bosom buddies, right? We have a lot in common. But really good to be with you. I know some of you here, so I feel very much at home. We want to talk this afternoon about my own perspective on repositioning yourself. I'm going to share with you four thoughts really. And I will move the slides. Let me see if this will move. You're probably going to have to move it for me. All right. On repositioning yourself. And I want to remind us who we are in Christ. And so can you just move the slides for me? Because this isn't working. I want to share with you, remind us of who we are. And 1 Peter 2 verse 9 says it for us. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. In other words, when we talk about repositioning ourselves, if we're not in this position, living as a chosen person, living as a royal priest, living holy, living like God's special possession, then that is how we have to reposition ourselves. Are you with me? The repositioning has to get us into this right position. So whether we're talking about finances, our career, our family, our health, anything we're talking about, this is a position that we ought to reposition to. So we have to remember that we are different. We are set apart people. We are priests. We are royalty. We are God's special possession. So we are here for God's purposes. We are here for God's kingdom. That's why we are here. We're not here for our glory. We are here for God's purposes. He created us because he has a plan for us, not because he wants us to look big and great, but because he wants to use us to further his kingdom, which is already big and great, and to do his work and for his glory. And as a reminder that when we go through certain struggles, that Lord, I'm not here for my benefit, but I'm here for your glory. We have to remember that. So there are 4 things I want to share with us if we're going to deliver on this repositioning. And the first thing I want to share is that we have to refocus. We have to refocus. So there's a story of the 3 princes that I want to share with you. The story of 3 princes. So there once was a king who issued a challenge to the princes of a neighboring land, that whoever among them could, over a long journey of varying landscapes, way over. It's like you're here in Spanish Town and you're looking way over into St. Thomas. Right? Long journey of varying landscapes. Walk, if you could walk in a straight line, he said there's the 3 princes. If you can walk in a straight line to the king's castle, you would have the right to ask for my daughter's hand in marriage. So one prince coming from probably over Portland, another prince coming from St. Anne, another prince coming from St. Catherine. So the first prince embarked on the journey, looking to his right and to his left to make sure he was not veering off in either direction. But despite his best efforts, the further he journeyed, the more off course he veered. The second prince, determined that he was going to make it straight, he decided to look down. And what he did as he walked, he made sure that one foot went in front of the other one. So that was convincing him that he was going straight. But before too long, he too ended off badly off course. The third prince embarked on a journey. He didn't look to the right or to the left. He didn't look down at his footsteps. And yet, at the end, it was determined that he had walked in a straight line. No one could figure out how he did this. So he told them his secret. He said, all I did was to look into the far distance to the light at the crown of the castle tower. I didn't look at my path. I didn't look at my landscape to the right or to the left. I just kept my eyes on the light in the crown at the castle tower. And that's how I walked straight. I just pressed on toward the light. And I want to say to us that when we want to reposition, that is the secret to our walk with God. We're called to walk in a straight path in God. But how do we do that over a lifetime? And over a long journey of varying landscapes and problems and distractions and so on, and changing circumstances. I want to say to us that we can't focus on our circumstances. That we can't focus on even our own walk. We have to fix our eyes on the destination. We have to fix our eyes on the destination that says, despite our surroundings, despite the mountains and the valleys that we have to cross over, despite the highs and the lows, despite even our walk and our footsteps, if we fix our eyes on the eternal, if we fix our eyes on Him, and we press forward every day, fixing our eyes on Him, as we get closer to the goal, we're going to end up there. Do you agree? And straight will be our footsteps in the sand. So I want to say to us, focus, refocus. So Hebrews 12 verses 1 and 2 say it well. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run straight ahead to the tower with perseverance, the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on who? Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured at the cross, scorning its shame, and he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So listen, the first thing, if we're going to reposition ourselves, before we talk about money, before we talk about anything else, we have to refocus. We have to refocus. Fix our eyes on the goal. Fix our eyes on Jesus Christ. And draw continually closer to Him. Walk in the straight line. We cannot pay attention to the distractions on the right or the left. The second thing we want to do, if we're going to reposition ourselves, is that we have to reskill. What is the second one? We have to reskill. What that means is that we have to be ensured that we are equipped for the needs of today. We have to be equipped for the needs of today. Here's the deal. Do you know that they have self-driving cars nowadays? Right? The technology has moved to such a degree that some of the jobs that the kids who are in school will be doing when they graduate, those jobs have not yet been invented. You have children in school, some of you, the jobs that they will do when they have graduated, if they're in high school right now, those professions, those skills have not even yet been invented. So all of us have the challenge of continuously reinventing ourselves. So it may be a new job, it may be the same job with new requirements. God's chosen people are people of excellence who must continually sharpen our saws. That's why Paul says it to Timothy, he says, study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And then I just love what Paul says in Colossians 3. He says, and whatever you do, whether in word or in deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him. And he says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord and not for human masters. So we must be people of excellence, because when we turn up, whether it's our own business or whether we're working for somebody else, we're not working for human beings, we're working for God. Whatever we're doing must be marked by excellence. So, what is my experience over the years that keep me on the cutting edge? I want to tell you this. I wasn't the brightest in school. Plenty brighter guys. I wasn't the brightest at NCB. Plenty brighter guys. But my career advanced so rapidly because I read more than most other people. I read more than most other people. Jamaican people, if you want to hide something from them, put it in writing. We have to get into a reading habit. And nowadays, it is so easy to get information. You log on and you put a good search message in Google, all the information pops up. We still have public libraries. Just make use of all the reading material that is available. Some of the products that I introduced in my banking career, I did the research and I found out that in India, for example, the people there were using similar products and finding great benefit from it. And I read more and I read more. I said, how can this be made applicable to Jamaica? And so you customize the product and bring it to Jamaica and the thing sell off, turn up. You understand? We don't have any head office in Canada or New York. Our head office is here. So we have to do the research here on what is working well elsewhere. You have to read more than the next man beside you. So leave that and remember that one. The second thing is that we have to consider further studies. I want to say this to you. The doctors who you go to every day, whenever you're sick, the lawyer who you have to engage, all of them have to make a commitment to continuous studies. Because the thing is changing so rapidly. Sometimes one medicine that would have been used, and in fact this morning I had a prayer meeting with a doctor friend of mine, and he was explaining that there is a drug that they're using in cancer, in treating cancer now, that have been using it for decades, but it's since 2011 that some new learnings have been made about this particular drug. And if you're not up to date, you will miss the new discoveries and how it ought to be used. So if the doctors can do that, and the lawyers are doing that, and the engineers are keeping it, then what about you in your thing? If you are a plumber, if you're an electrician, do you know about the latest tools and the latest technologies in that trade? How are you going to have that information? If you are a professional, if you are a man of excellence, how are you getting that information to continuously improve yourself? And when the people who you are serving see a difference between you and every other professional in that category. That's why you have to sharpen yourself. The other thing that makes that possible is short courses. And as I say, even the doctors that go on professional enhancement, and the accountants, everybody is keeping up to date, right? So the other thing you want to do on the next slide is to use other people's brains. What do I mean by that? You use other people's brains. Now people talk about use other people's money, that you borrow other people's money to advance your business, and that's okay, that's good. We're going to talk about that later. But you must also use other people's brains. You must consult with other people, right? You must take advice from other people. Even your peers can give you advice, right? Develop a network to help you stay in touch with ongoing developments in your field. That's how you use other people's brains. Remember, as I said, that all professionals, doctors, attorneys, accountants, all of them have to commit to ongoing professional development. They attend conferences and seminars and journals, and they are sharing with and learning from each other. We have to do the same. You want to ensure that you're always learning. All right. Another thing we need to remember is good time management. A lot of us can't manage time well, and we keep on putting off things. Stop procrastinating. You want to make a rule that from today, the 29th of September 2018, I'm going to stop procrastinating. I'm going to stop put off for tomorrow what can be done today. I'm going to stop put off for tomorrow what can be done today. And the other thing I want to say to us is, in whatever field you're in, you know why America is such a resilient country. They have all kind of things going on there. Sometimes crazy presidents, sometimes others, right? But America is going to survive. Why America going to survive? It's a land of innovation. Sometimes they don't even come up with the original. Sometimes it's England or somewhere else. But they are always given an opportunity. Somebody always stepping out and trying something new. Is that true? Right? And I want to say to you, do not be afraid of failure. The people who are afraid of failure will not try anything new. You have to step out. A ship wasn't made to stay in the harbor. That is not what a ship was meant to be. You have to go out into the seas. All right? So I want to say something to you. I want to leave a quote with you from a man by the name of Johann van Goethe. Listen to this. I don't have it on the slide. He says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Here is how he wrapped it up. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Let me repeat that. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So the question that I have for you, because you're going to ask me questions after this. The question that I have for you is, what have you thought of that you can do? What have you dreamt about that you can do? What do you require? Just some courage to start. And I would say, begin it. Write it down. Take some time. I'm going to start pause for 15 seconds. Right? And I want you to write down something that you have been thinking about, but you haven't had the courage to start. Right? I'll give you 15 seconds to write it down. All right, 15 seconds gone. I hope I wrote it down. So the first thing on this repositioning is that we need to refocus. The second thing is that we need to reskill. The third thing, recharge your finances. Recharge your finances. Now, Kevin would have spoken a lot about financials, so I'm not going to drill down a lot into it. But what I would say is that we need to review your financial position. Everybody, periodically, you need to review your financial position. Add up where you are, all the assets that you have, and all the liabilities you have, all the things that you owe. And try to understand where you are. Set some financial goals for yourself. Regardless of what age you are, everybody can establish some financial goals. What are the financial goals that we can have? Anybody? Financial goals? Huh? You're saving to retire, right? You're buying a house. You want to change your car. You want to buy your first car. You have children you want to send to school, right? Those are financial goals. So understand where you are, set some goals, and have a plan. Now, the plan is so important. A lot of things are possible, but we don't achieve them because we don't have a plan. You understand? So what you want to do is to be able to sit with someone and work out a plan. So for example, if you have a newborn baby, and you say you want this kid to go to school, to go to university in 18 years from now, and the very best university, you want to check out the cost of university education. How many years are they going to be there? 4 years also, right? Or 5 years? What is the cost of university education now? What is it likely to be in 18 years? How am I going to save to cover 5 years of university education in 18 years' time? And you have to start on that now. Now, if you waited until they were 15, right? I say you only have 3 years left. Then you have to crunch that plan into a 3-year time horizon. Are you with me? But we have to have a plan. And then that plan is going to be reflected in your budget. Because your budget is really the plan on paper. So we are doing our budget in First Victoria Mutual now for January to December 2019. So we're busy, all of us busy preparing the budget. We have a business plan, but we have to get that business plan into a budget. Where we're going to get revenue from, and how we're going to spend, and we're going to end up with a certain, what we're going to spend on, and what we're going to end up with a certain level of profit for next year. But the thing what we have to do, and which you have to do as well, is that when you have budgeted, you have to periodically keep track of how well you are doing with respect to your budget. We do it once per month. Some of us have to do it daily because we have a plan of how much we want to sell every day, and we have to check how well we're doing on a daily basis. And every month we come together. So it's the same thing with you. You have a plan. You have to determine how often you are going to review how well you are tracking with your plan. Because suppose now you had done this thing about the university education, and it's only 4 years you had started it, right? And the university decided that they're going to double fees. Because that is possible, right? They're going to double the fees. Then you have to revisit your plan. Because that's the only thing you have control over. You don't have any control over the fees that are set. You might have to say, boy, I'm going to have to save more, and I'm going to have to borrow part of it. That's how you have to kind of work and develop a plan when things might take it off course. And then we have to learn to give, because we are Christians, and we have to ensure that we're saving and investing and borrowing. So remember that Christians are accountable to God for what we give. Amen? When God asks us how much did you put into the offering plate, he's not talking about dollars, he's talking about percent. True? Or we don't talk about those things in this earth. We talk about that, right? So God asks for 10% of our earnings. So tithing is setting aside for God in cash or kind the first tenth of one income, right? And started from Old Testament days. So our tithes are given to God as a mark of our commitment to Him. So it has to be the first claim on our income. In Scripture though, tithing was only the beginning. A lot of us don't realize that. Because it is the least that we can give. The Scriptures tell us that that is where we start and we'll move on to respond to other needs. Do we know that? So Jesus says, give and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And Paul says that on the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with his income, save it up, so that when I come, no collections would have to be made. The point is that it's about a percentage, a regular percentage of our income, first claim on our income. But Christian stewardship also involves the money and the possessions beyond the offering bag. God wants us to be wise stewards of the money that we have left over after paying our tithes and giving our offerings. And Charles Spurgeon said it. He said, a fool can make money, but it takes a wise man to spend it. So setting goals is important. Budgeting is important. Careful use of debt is important in honoring God. Because you know what the Psalm said? The wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous give generously. And Proverbs say, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. So wise spending is important. So how do you use debt? You have to use debt sometimes because the whole purpose of banks and so on is to put people with surplus money in touch with people who have deficit. So you want to acquire an asset, you can't pay for it all up front. So you can borrow as long as you're able to repay for it, right? But ideally, we should really borrow for assets that appreciate in value. Because you have to be careful about borrowing for things that depreciate in value. So a lot of people borrow to buy a car, for example. It's not such a wise thing to do because from you drive the car off the parking lot, the value of the car gone down. Is that true? The value of the car from you drive it off the parking lot. From little dust touch the tire, right? The value gone down. But you want to borrow for things that appreciate in value, so that when the debt is flat or reducing, the asset gone up. So you can borrow to start a business, for example, or to grow your business. Because the business will be doing more, it will be appreciating in value. You can borrow to build a house. Because the house will appreciate in value. The mortgage will go down as long as you're paying it, and the value of the house will go up. So that is how you borrow wisely. But you don't borrow for things that disappear. Some people borrow to get married. They borrow to buy, they borrow to put on clothes. They borrow to feed people at a wedding. People them gone home, belly full, and you're still in debt. How that work? Carnival come around. Some of the people who go into carnival, you know, they borrow money to buy the carnival costume. And carnival done, and them still owe the money. And you can't wear that costume again. Sorry for them. You understand what I'm saying? Borrow for things that appreciate in value. Things that going to be consumed right away or depreciate in value. You have to save and deal with them, or you spend, or you pay for them out of your income. Alright? So let's move on. The final thing. We have spoken, if you're going to reposition yourself, you have to refocus, right? Second thing you have to do is reskill. The third thing you have to do is recharge your finances. The last one you're going to do now is to recommit. You're going to reposition yourself, you have to recommit. We have to recommit to God, and I want to say to you that there are lessons for us, men, in God's call of Moses in Exodus 3. Burning bush. You know the story of the burning bush. And God calls us men into his fiery presence. He calls us into that fiery presence. Is away from our comfort zone. Too many of us are locked into our comfort zone. And he brings us into his fiery presence to burn away our fear and to burn away our pride. That's why he calls us into his fiery presence. He calls us men to remove our shoes. You remember saying, take off your shoes because you're standing on holy ground. What is our shoes? Our shoes represent our own self-fashioned support. We're depending on ourselves. Yeah? And then the Lord said, call us to know his heart. Because in God's presence, Moses learned of God's gentle heart and his loving concern and his compassionate nature and his desire to heal and deliver. And then now, finally, God calls us to leadership. Verses 9 and 10. We are leaders. And the people are, regardless of your age, regardless of your station, you're a leader. Why are you a leader? Because people around us, people around you will be affected by whether we accept our call and to God's purpose in our lives. People around you are affected by whether you respond to God's call in your life. Think of the people who are affected by how you respond to God's call. In that regard, you're a leader. So God calls us to leadership. God calls us to recommit to God then. And God calls us to recommit to family, to honor our loved ones, to have a plan for dealing with unresolved issues and anger, to have activities that foster emotional bonding. If you have a wife, do things together. Do things that you enjoy together out of the home. Practice meaningful communication. Ensure that you express and understand each other's feelings. And I want to say to us, consider joining a small support group with other couples and other family members. And I want to say to us, recommit to church. Recommit to church. Honor and pray for your pastor. Honor and pray for your pastor. Attend church regularly. Some of us don't attend when the young people in charge. Attend church regularly. Use your spiritual gifts for the building up of the body. Tithe your income. Tithe your income. That's how you support the church. And evangelize and encourage others to attend church and to accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And I want to say to us, don't stop there. Don't stop about praying for the pastor. Encourage your pastor. Be a peacemaker in the congregation. Maintain a consistent Christian lifestyle in the presence of your family. Live a disciplined and self-controlled life in terms of what you read and what you listen to and what you view and what you talk about. Live a life of joy, gentlemen, and regularly spend time, quality time with God in prayer and in Bible study. And then a last thing to recommit to. And every year I do this, after I finish my summer holiday, until I finish my Christmas holiday, I recommit to my health as well. To exercise, and to watch the diet, and to enough sleep. Right? We need to recommit. We need to check upon ourselves from time to time how well we're doing with the sleep thing. How many hours of sleep you get? Do you know how many hours of sleep you're getting? Some of you in here are getting 4 hours, not true? Some of you are getting 4 hours. It's not enough. Right? Need to be doing at least 6, 7. I'm talking to myself, by the way, right? Because I'm not at the 7. But I know every time I read, and it takes a toll on us. Let's try and get to the 7. Right? Watch the exercise. Or watch the diet. Recommit to taking care. Because it's not our body, you know. Whose body is it? Whose temple is this? So how we treat God's body like that? How we treat God's body like that? We need to ask ourselves when we are called to account for how we have treated His body that He has given us to do His work. How are we going to tell Him? It's a serious question. So, I'll leave that with you. Reposition yourself. Refocus, straight ahead, reskill, keep sharp, making sure we're on top of our game in our profession, in our business, in our education, recharge our finances, assess where we are, have a plan, do something about the plan, and finally recommit. Recommit to God, recommit to your family, recommit to your church, and recommit to your health. Thank you very much. When I take Amen. You heard that?
Some men attend the doctor, go to the doctor, they feel that they know, but you are not the doctor. The doctor is trained to tell us what happened for us. But I really are not a real way, because I love to know what is happening. So I'm encouraging our men, at least once per year, please make sure that you do medical checkup or executive profile to know what is going on.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Bishop. So I want to endorse that. Most of us the majority of men will get at least an enlarged prostate. Our prostate is going to get bigger as we get older. It's going to happen. What we want to do is to keep track of whether that growth is greater than should normally be expected. You understand? And only the doctor can tell us that. We can't feel it at all. And if we wait until it is too late, then it's where we're going to have a real problem. So I really, I've been in my early 40s, I've been doing this check every year. You do the PSA test as well as the examination. And both of them together work well to keep a track of what is going on. And even if you have a problem, it is not a death sentence as long as you find out early enough. You understand? There are people who have lived through it because they caught it early. So you want early detection. Early detection is the key. And you can't do early detection unless you're regular about it. So I encourage that. In terms of fitness, I'm at the gym 3 mornings a week. I run on Saturday with a group, right? Sometimes up to, no, I'm doing just 4 miles, probably 5-6 miles on a Saturday. I didn't go out this morning, but I've done a half marathon, right? And you know, which is 13 miles. You want to challenge yourself. And those are things that I started not so long ago. But you want to say, boy, your body feels so different. And that's how you manage the stress, because the job that I have in banking is a stressful job. But I find that the more I exercise, is the better I'm able to deal with the stress of the job. Yeah? So I want to encourage us with that.
You spoke to these 4 areas for reposition. I want to just touch a little on 3, recharge your finances. Could you tell us how it is that we can review our financial position? How is it that we can, you mentioned, of knowing where we are, just putting some of these questions out so that we can sort of bring some clarity. How is it that we can review our financial position and our financial goals?
Sure. All right, so let's be practical now. Suppose you owe a lot of money. Anybody in here, well, don't you have to raise your hand. You may owe a lot of money, you don't know how you're going to pay it off, right? The issue with it is that balance sheet that you're going to do for yourself will help you to have a total picture. You know, some people owe money and don't know the total debt that they have. So all I want you to do is to write down everything, who you owe, which bank, which credit union, which neighbor, which shopkeeper, which family member, add up everything. And then you look at the other side, all the things that you own, house, a lot, a car, regardless of the value of it, put it down, everything, right? And you want to see how can you, that will guide you in terms of how to move from there, because sometimes you'll find that you have an asset that you didn't even realize, probably you can sell it and pay off some of the expensive liabilities, you understand? Or you might find a way in which you can consolidate some of the debts, because you have to write down the interest rate and how much you're paying on each of them. And you want to say probably there's an opportunity to put all of them together at a lower interest rate and for a longer period, so that you can have a lower repeat debt servicing going forward. You understand? So those are, but you can't develop that plan unless you have first assessed where you are. And that's what I want to encourage us to do. The financial goals now are different. Related to that, one goal could be to pay down debt. Another goal could be to reduce the debt servicing. And another goal could be you don't owe any money, but you want to acquire a particular asset. You want to build a house, or you want to buy a piece of land, or you want to change a car or something. A goal is a goal that you have to convert into financial terms. That's what a financial goal is. Something that you want to do, but you want to convert it into money terms. What does it mean in terms of money? You want to do something, but what does it mean in terms of money? Do you want to start a business? What does that mean in terms of money? How much are you going to have to invest to get this business started? Stock, equipment, people, right? So that is it.
The last one we want you to find out. How is it that we can structure a budget? What is our budget? We think that, okay, fine, we're going to be going into something. what do we do? How is it that we can structure this budget that you're talking about?
All right. So the budget, my parents used to take a little hardcover notebook, right? And they would write down to say they know what their income was, the net income that they're taking home. But then the detail of the budget is this. What is my tithe? How much money are you going to save each month? Because in the saving, you want to build up to a nest egg which is at least 3 months' salary in case anything happened to you. You should be able to live. Some people say 6 months is your nest egg that you should try to build up. If something happens to you and you have to stop working, you should be able to survive for about 6 months from your savings. So typically you want to save about 5% of your income. Then after that, what is your light bill? What is your phone bill? What is your water bill? All of those things you have to write them down in detail. Check what you have been doing. What is how much you're spending on petrol every month? How much you're spending at the supermarket? You have to write down all of those things. My parents used to actually write market different from supermarket. Because some things I buy in market and some things I buy in supermarket. That's all? So, tithe, savings, utilities, debt that you may owe, by the way, mortgage, car loan, etc. All of those things you have to put down. Because you have to pay the people. We are Christian people. Right? Tithe, savings, mortgage, car loan, this loan, student loan, whatever, utilities, groceries, right? And if you plan to go on a little vacation, you might have a special vacation fund that you save for ahead of going on the vacation. Because some people go on vacation and come back broke because they run up over debts on the vacation. You have to save ahead of going on vacation. You understand? Anyway, next question. So that is what the budget looks like. Now, you're going to find sometimes that you end up in a deficit. Because when you tot up all of those things, it's greater than what you had put as your income at the top. So what does that mean? You have to do what? You have to cut back. Or else you're going to end up like Jamaica. You're going to end up like Jamaica, spend more than you have. Right? So, yes, sir. Pardon me? Yeah.
And I wonder if ever the church records would have the opportunity to visiting something to us and
Thank you.
Okay, my concern is you mentioned about the fact of reading. And what I discovered working on it is that most of our men are not readers. And because of this, it creates a challenge and makes them timid to come forward. I have tried sometimes in my dealing with them to expose others. However, I find that some get sick, some get funny, and I have advised me say, no pressure me on. And there are sometimes when they feel left out when women take charge. And they say, but what can you say to that men to put away the fear, begin to read and get help in some way so they can come home?
All right, excellent. So first thing I would say is start with something that you're naturally interested in. Just walk into a bookstore, and look around for something that would arouse your interest. Because especially if you're not reading now, it's going to be difficult to stick to it unless you're very interested in it. You understand? So I would say start with some material that you know looks very interesting, like you won't be able to put it down. But something that is that God honors. So something that about sport or about some technical thing to do with your profession. You understand? Or you're in something that you're interested in. It's probably is a biography. Probably is that biography written by a sports person or something. Something that you're interested in. And I find that it will help you to get into the reading habit. But that's how you want to start. Just buy a book of something that you're likely to be interested in. So for example, if you're into, like when I'm a big cricket fan, so I have a lot of books at home written by cricketers or written on cricketers. George Headley and Michael Holding and Courtney Walsh book, all of those books I've read rather. You understand? Start with something that you're interested in about your faith. Read books that are talking about some aspect of our faith. Right? You want to get deeper into it. So I would say read some things that you're interested in that you feel can make you more knowledgeable, more stronger, but keep at the habit. And just on a weekend, just block out even 1 hour to start it. Not the entire, just 1 hour where you say probably on a Sunday evening, I'm going to just read a chapter. Right? And you want to, of course, with the Bible, you want to do that every day. Some men are not doing that. We want to be in the Bible every day, and we want to have a systematic pattern for reading the Bible. Some people just open and start to read, so well, that may work for some, but I like to read like through a chapter or a particular theme, you know, for a week or a month and so on. That's how I find it helpful, right? So that you really understand the story, because it's really one story, you know. Really one story, where you have to see the connections. And I find that if you're reading the passages from all over, sometimes you don't get the connection that you need to get. Yes?
On the point of reading, I think I'm not happy with them, but it's been years since I read them. I go on Google, type in, or I go on YouTube. So is it that to learn that you have to go to the library? It's very age where everything is on the internet. And I am actually a visual learner. So the thing that I will bring in a book that I previously, when I go on YouTube and I type in the same topic and they demonstrate what I do cartoons or whatever, I understand and I grasp.
Yeah.
So there may be those of us in the audience reading a book and we're afraid of books. There are other means of
Absolutely, true. Good point. Yeah.
Secondly, in the fact that I am a visual learner, the first time I read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation was through this. When I would usually look at the Bible, I just see black and white and I try to read it with the thickness of black. But then I got an idea, so as I read through, I would color each line, and then the Bible started to look alive to me. Alright? So there are those of us, especially as men, whether like socialization and biology, who it's really challenging to take up a book because it's just a blog. So I suggest also the Google, YouTube, and if you are experimental like I am, while you're reading a book like the Bible, that is important to us, color and see if it will come alive to you. Thanks.
Amen. Yeah, I want to endorse that. Good points.
So, just want to ask a question. We talk a lot of people about good ideas. I don't think we're short on ideas. How do you convert those ideas into meaningful projects, and how do you know that they will last? Because sometimes we have a multi-million-dollar idea, but we don't know how to put flesh on those ideas. Give us some steps.
All right, so let's take a practical example. Let's say that you have some experience in making shoes, right? You have been exposed to it, and you say, boy, you know what, I feel I can start my own line of shoes. Is that something that is possible? Yeah, good. So the thing about it, there's a difference between an invention and an innovation. So an invention could be this new style of shoes that you have come up with. Innovation is something that is commercially successful. So for it to be a real innovation, it has to be commercially successful. So the question is, how is my line of shoes going to be commercially successful? It means that I have to have a plan of how I'm going to make the shoes, several pairs, several thousand pairs, what process I'm going to use to make these shoes, make them at a certain standard consistently. That's the first question to ask. What is the process that you're going to use? And that question is applicable if you're going to open an ice cream shop, or if you're going to open a plumbing service, or if you're going to open a tailor shop. What is the process that you're going to use to deliver what you're promising to deliver? The process. Answer that question first. How are you going to ensure that I'm consistently producing the quality that I need to produce? What are the controls that I'm going to need to have in place? What is the equipment that I'm going to need to have? Who are the people I'm going to need to have in place to make these shoes that I'm planning to sell? The second question you have to ask, is related to that one, and I mentioned it already, the people. Who are going to do it for you? Is you alone going to make the shoes? Is you alone going to sell them? Ask the question. It's people, process, and then people. What type of people you're going to need? How are you going to find them? How are you going to train them? How are you going to pay them? And then the third question you have to ask, third question you're going to ask is, how are you going to market the product? Who am I going to sell these shoes to? Where am I going to sell it? What is the price that I'm going to sell it for? In fact, in marketing the shoes, you have to answer a couple of things. The place, where you're going to sell it. The price, right? What is the product that you're going to sell? How you're going to promote it. 4 P's. The place, the product, the price, and the promotion. How are people going to know that you have these shoes to sell? Then you have to put on paper what you figure you're going to be able to earn from the shoes, and what it is, given the process that you're going to use and the people you're going to use, what it is going to cost you to deliver these shoes on a per pair basis. Are you going to make a profit from it? So you have to work out a business plan. You don't have to be a big fancy thing with 5,000 pages. A business plan as to how you're going to make profit from making shoes. And all the business plan calls for is the things that I just told you about. How you're going to make the shoes, who's going to do it for you, what price you're going to sell it for, how are you going to promote it, where you're going to sell it. Right? That is all that is in the business plan. And then the main thing now is to get some help, because you may not be able to get financing for all of that to start. So you're going to have to say, boy, can I get some help to buy the material, the leather that you're going to need, and the glue, and some money to pay the people until you get it sold? That is working capital, right? Who am I going to get it from? Probably some family members can lend you some money. Probably you can start a company and they invest in shares in your little company, right? Probably if you put enough money from family, probably then you can go to a bank to say, boy, I have this money on my own, I'm a family, can you help me with this other piece? Because you might have 40% of it and the bank help with the other 60%. You understand? That's how you have to kind of think about how you're going to start. And then you have to work out the timing, because it's not so much a profit, it's the cash flow. A lot of people are running profitable business but don't have any good cash flow. Because by the time you put the shoes out there in a store and the store owners owe you and don't pay you up front, you have to pay your people who are working for you. True? And you want to buy some more stock, so you have to buy the more other stock. So you have to bear in mind the cash flow as well, and you have to have enough. So if you're a developer, for example, building houses, you need a lot of cash to cover the cash flow, because you're going to spend 9 months building a house. And then after that, people, when it finishes, when people were going to mortgage, 3 months later, 6 months later before you get your cash back. So always be mindful of the difference between profit and cash flow. Are you understand me? So that's why I would say you would start a business selling shoes. All right? Anybody else? Yes, this gentleman and then that. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so if you own a business, first of all, you have to have the discipline of paying yourself a salary from the business. You can't just take money out of the business like that. A lot of people do that. I'm a banker, I know that. Right? People mix up the business money with their money. And the people think the business make profit mean that they can take out of it. Things don't work like that. So pay yourself a salary from the business and you tithe from your salary. You understand? The business now can make its own contribution to a church or to your church. But you have to be clear that that is the business's contribution. Like how Victoria Mutual could contribute, you know, to a cause, something being done by a church, and we could contribute to that. Your business can do that. But that's not your tithe. Your tithe, you pay yourself a salary, and then you tithe from the salary. Yeah? Yeah. You don't know?
They do want to start up.
Do,
They do want to start up.
startups, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Across the board. Can you speak to that?
I will.
Then, what percentage is being placed in commercial loan versus mortgage? And for like small person, can you take a mortgage and consolidate your commercial loan, like buy a house and you use some of the money to pay down some hydrogen, that kind of stuff. And finally, your mortgage, can you pay off whatever your rate is?
Yeah. All right, so let me take one. Don't move, because I don't want to miss any. First thing is, do we fund startups? Generally, no. I'll tell you why. Remember, the money loaned by banks and the building society is depositors' money. Right? So the first obligation is to the depositors. Businesses, the nature of free enterprise and capitalism is that businesses fail. That's okay. Because people are innovating and they are trying things. Businesses will fail. And 90% of new businesses fail. So we can't take the depositors' money and invest in something that has a 90% chance of failing. Because that's a statistic. 90% of new businesses fail. And it's okay. So really what needs to happen is that startups have to be funded by venture capital, which is not depositors' funds. It's people who are saying, boy, I went to bet on 10 businesses and one of them will work. And that is what venture capital is. So we encourage people doing startup, if you don't have your own money, to access venture capital. So for example, right now, the DBJ, the Development Bank of Jamaica, has an angel fund, and we participate in that to offer venture capital for startups. So what you can do, you put your idea together and you go in front of these angel funders and they can decide whether they would want to invest shares in your company, right? Because you don't have enough to take it. So for example, there are a whole host of entrepreneurs. Some of them, one we looked at this a couple of weeks ago, operate a cocoa farm up in the hills of St. Mary, right? Cocoa. And they're going to get some angel funding to do a chocolatier and take the thing further. The point is that that is what venture capital is for. So the second question has to do with the percentage financing. Percentage financing, we will offer up to 97% financing for residential mortgages. Right? Up to 97% for residential mortgages. For commercial mortgages, it's a lower figure. Why? Because commercial buildings tend to not retain the value as well as a residential property. So we do up to 60% for commercial properties, right? And again, because businesses have ups and downs as well, you know, you tend to take less of a chance with commercial properties. The third question had to do, remind me of the third one? To consolidate, yes. And you can use your mortgage to consolidate debt, provided it's not in excess of, remember, it's a total now indebtedness that shouldn't exceed 90%. So you may have a mortgage on it already, you have some other debts that you owe outside, you can put everything together. What we're concerned about is the extent to which you can service the debt, right? And we're not going to exceed the 90%. And then the fourth question. What's the fourth question again? Interest rates now are on, you can get a mortgage for between 8 to 8.5%. The fees related to that at VMBS we only charge 0.5%. Some of the other institutions charge up to 3%. So people find that the VM mortgage does very well because they are able to use what they have saved to do some additions to the house or buy furniture, appliances, etc. You know, for the properties. So that saving comes in very handy. All right. They take a percentage of the equity in the business, and then when you have grown the business to a certain point, they then they can then buy back your shares from you. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Yes.
This environment very lot of real, you are correct story. But because we are living in information age, we can go like on age and get all these presentations, etc. Is it just as effective listening to these video presentations as we do?
I find that for me, the video presentations are helpful, but you can't get all the detail that you really need to have in a video presentation. And so I find that you have to combine the two. It depends on what the issue is though. I find you have to, for my business research, I have to go online, I would read McKinsey or some banking article or something. You can't get, there's so much you can cover in a 15-minute interview and no more. Some of the articles I will have to read will take me 2 hours to read because lots of detail, and sometimes the details are important. And we have to be able to pay attention to the details. So it's whatever works for people, but I'm going to find that I want to say to you that some of the detail that we're going to need to really take us to a different level, we may not be able to get in the videos. All right?
Not quite sure this would be applicable to our discussion here now. But you mentioned tithing, you pay yourself a salary and tithe. But that's where I'm coming from. I'm thinking about taxes. I know you do file taxes for the business, but do you pay an income tax from that salary that you pay yourself?
Yeah.
And what do you go about determining your
Well, the Income Tax Act tells you what you ought to pay. So there is a certain threshold that is tax-free. I remember Ardeshaw called it how much? 1 point? Come on, you're not listening to Ardeshaw. The 1.5, right? So up to 1.5 is tax-free, right? And then after that, the income becomes subject to income tax at 25%, right? And then you remember you have to pay education tax and NIS and NHT. NHT, NIS, education tax. So all of those things you would have to pay now from your thing. Remember too, as an employer, employers have certain obligations for all of those taxes as well. So you have to get an account. Remember I say use other people's brains. Get some accounting advice as to, you understand? As to what is the right, the ideal salary that you would pay yourself and then and how to set up those payroll taxes and so on. All right? Huh? Absolutely. Big point. Let me talk about that a bit. Pension. How did I miss this? Boy, I could beat myself. A pension is a very important thing. Gentlemen, a lot of us are not only, I'm going to share this with you, only 15% of Jamaican workforce is actually saving for retirement through a pension. Only 15%. And that only gets to 15% because of the government people, the people who work with government. If you take out the government people, it's only 9%. What we should do is always be thinking of a pension plan. But in addition to that, those of us who are on pension, you should top it up to as maximum as you can, which is up to 20%. Because why? That is tax-free saving. Because before the income tax is applied, you are allowed to take out the pension contribution. So the pension contribution is a tax-free income. Sorry. The tax is calculated, they take out the 1.5, and then they look at the pension contribution, which is a maximum of 20%, because they don't want people to abuse it. So they cap it at 20, right? Up to 20%, and then after that, the rest is tax. So if you maximize the pension contribution, what you would have been doing is maximizing your tax-free savings. So I always encourage us, if you work with an institution that has, that allows you as the pension contributor to top it up, to maximize it, I encourage you to do that, because when you get your pension statement, you're going to see the big difference that it makes. And it's going to be a big difference when you retire. All right? Huh? Self-employed. Self-employed people can also set up pension plans. Something is called approved retirement scheme. Call me and I'll tell you about that. Victoria Mutual Pensions Management has something called an approved retirement scheme that is specifically for self-employed people and professionals and so on. And what we will do, we have a plan that is designed for people who are self-employed. Your company doesn't, you're not working with anybody, so you can log on to that pension plan. We will have a plan for you. We'll give you an annual statement on it and so on. All right?
I would say next to the have a question? There is also a point we must know that the Income Tax Act also provides for up to 1/20 of your overall earnings as donations to charity for whatever purpose.
True. A lot of people don't realize that. Yeah? So that's, you heard that? Up to 1/20 is allowable for charitable purposes. But a lot of Jamaicans don't file returns, and that's why we don't know these things. You understand? Last question. Last question. Yeah.
Is there, does EMPS have like anything that put it in place and assistance?
Yeah, so what we do, we can offer you some financial counseling. We have some people called financial service specialists, right? Who will sit with you to help you to review your situation and to work a plan to help you to get out of it. Sometimes it's a savings plan, sometimes a plan to consolidate some debt. You understand? But the most important thing is to sit with you and to understand where you are and then work out a plan. But you have to be part of developing that plan.
Okay. Also, say for instance you are a low income worker, right? Say you're just working like basic salary.
Yeah,
right?
minimum wage.
Minimum wage. And you would like acquire a house, right? The
Yeah.
house would like say cost like around $7.5 or $7 million. How does BNBX or how can BNBX assist you in acquiring?
All right, good. All right, so let's talk about this. So you are earning minimum wage, and you have seen a house that you want to buy $7.5 million. What we will do is same financial, and we have these financial service specialists at every branch of Victoria Mutual, right? Every branch of Victoria Mutual has one. And you can talk to either the FSS or the manager. What we'll sit with you and to show you how much you would have to service, how much you would need to service this loan of $7.5 million. Now, hopefully that debt servicing is no more than 45% of this minimum wage that you're earning, but something tells me it will be more than that. Because the minimum to service that type of loan, most persons can, with earning minimum wage, can't borrow more than say about $4 million. That's the max. In fact, I think it's about 2.5 to 3 million that they will be able to borrow. Because they have to service the loan. Now, minimum wage earners can get an interest-free loan from the NHT. Right? That's how the government has set it up. That the lowest earners can get an interest-free loan from the NHT, but the principal still has to be paid back. So we have to work to see with you how you can service that, work out a plan with you to say, all right, let's say now we find that you can adjust your appetite to come down to a $4 million house. Because there are houses available for $4 million. So this is what you can afford. Then now we say how much you're going to need to deposit. And what we tend to do is to say if you're going to need 10% on deposit and you're going to need another 10% for closing costs and so on, how can we help you to, or 5% deposit and 5% closing costs, how can we help you to get to this 10%? And work out a plan to get you to 400,000. How can you save probably over 2 years, to probably you and somebody else saving together, to get to 400,000. When you have gotten there, we'll help you to write the loan. A lot of them we do in collaboration with the NHT. You don't have to go to NHT. We can help you to make the application of the NHT because we have the NHT funds. We put the both of them together. One is a much lower interest rate. We'll mix that with our interest rate and we'll get you into the house. We have lots of mortgages on our books that are combined with the NHT for low income earners. Right? But it has to start with a plan, being very clear about what you can service comfortably and how you're going to be able to save the deposit and the closing costs. Huh? NHT? Age barrier, sorry. The age barrier, you're going to have the loan repaid for us by the time you're 70. You have to have, if you're 55, the most you can get is 15 years. Right? I think NHT actually has 65 years. I'm not absolutely sure about that, but I know for us it's 70. If you are 50, the most you can get is 20 years. If you are 45, the most you can get is 25 years. If you are 20, if you are 20, you can get 40 years or more to pay. You understand? So you're good. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.